Uh, it's Nehemiah's prayer. The words of Nehemiah, son of Hakaliah, in the month of Kislev, in the 20th year, um, while I was in the citadel of Susa, Hanani, one of my brothers, came from Judah with some other men, and I questioned them about the Jewish remnant that survived the exile and also about Jerusalem. They said to me, "Those who survived the exile are are back in the province, are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire." When I heard these things, I sat down and wept. For some days I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. Then I said, "O Lord, God of heaven, the great and awesome God, who keeps his covenant of love with those who love him and obey his commands, let your ear be attentive and your eyes open to hear the prayer your servant is praying before you day and night for your servants, the people of Israel. I confess the sins we Israelites, including myself and my father's house, have committed against you. We have acted very wickedly toward you. We have not obeyed the commands, decrees, and laws you gave your servant Moses. Remember the instruction you gave your servant Moses, saying, 'If you are unfaithful, I will scatter you among the nations. But if you return to me and obey my commands, then, even if your exiled people are at the farthest horizon, I will gather them from there and bring them to the place I have chosen as a dwelling place, or as a dwelling for my name. They are your servants and your people, whom you redeemed by your great strength and your mighty hand. O Lord, let your ear be attentive to the prayer of this your servant and to the prayer of your servants who delight in revering your name. Give your servant success today by granting him favor in the presence of this man. I was a cupbearer to the king." So, just to give you some backstory, this is basically during the end of the exile period. And so, because Israel and Judah had fallen away, or Israel as a whole had fallen away, and had not been worshiping the Lord, had been worshiping the other gods, and doing detestable practices as the people that were there before, the Canaanites, and they already knew that the Lord was providing for them, and that the consequences of not worshiping the Lord and following the commands was eventual exile. But there was always hope as well. And so the Lord, even though they were exiled, the Lord softened the hearts of the rulers that they were having to deal with. And in this case now, the ruler has allowed for the people to return to Israel, to Judah, and to Jerusalem. And so now they are trying to rebuild, they're trying to bring back a community that once was very great indeed, and now is on its way to recovery. And so Nehemiah here is acknowledging the fact that they had sinned, that they had fallen away. He's also acknowledging the promise. He's also acknowledging the covenant that the Lord had given them, that if even if they were scattered and placed into exile, once they remembered to call upon the Lord, once they started following the laws and commands once again, that he would bring them back. And so that's where we're at currently with Nehemiah. And Nehemiah says a prayer to the Lord because he understands that he's humbled himself, and he is willing to acknowledge when someone's at fault, when the people are at fault. So think about that. Think about past to present, bringing it to our lives. Do we acknowledge? I know this is a difficult thing to acknowledge mistakes, acknowledge things that we may have done or caused. But do we do that? Are we strong enough to do that? Do we seek the Lord's guidance and assistance when that does happen? And even humble ourselves and ask for forgiveness. Think about those things in our life. What kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think?